Small business war stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. Hey, lovers of small business and good stories in general. Welcome to episode 54 of Small Business War Stories. I'm your host, Pablo Fuentes, and I'm really excited because today we are kicking off the Soul of America 2 tour. Soul of America 1 took us from Austin all the way through the Midwest up to Saginaw, Michigan, and back down through the South and back to Austin. And Soul of America 2 happened throughout the Rocky Mountains. So it went all the way from Austin, Texas, up through Colorado to Montana, back down through Wyoming and western Colorado. And it's really, really exciting. And Santa Fe, New Mexico. Don't let me forget that. And it's really exciting to kick off the airing of the episodes from that tour with today's episode with Carrie and Tom Dragt of Old Colorado Vintage in Durango, Colorado. And Durango's in western Colorado, which a lot of people are familiar with more. A lot of what's going on in eastern Colorado, so like, Denver and Colorado Springs and Fort Collins, Boulder, things like that, in the mountains there. But there are other parts of Colorado. And western Colorado is really a fascinating place. I had a great time there, and it's the whole. I was in the area with Durango, Ouray, Silverton, Telluride, all of those places are. It's absolutely beautiful country. The $1 Million Highways there, and I had the honor of interviewing Carrie and Tom, who own Old Colorado Vintage, and they travel around the country searching for the coolest vintage items, and then they sell them at their store there in the main drag in Durango, which is a really cool, western town nestled in the mountains in Colorado. So I'm really, really excited to get started. And today, we also have a new sponsor for the duration of the Soul of America 2 episodes, which we have quite a few of these that were taped on the Rocky Mountains all the way up to August of this year. We are going to be sponsored by FreshBooks. And FreshBooks is a great partner to us because they also care about small businesses as much as we do. They are absolutely great. What they do is they help you with they have lots of things they do. So, for example, they help you with your invoicing, right? So you can use FreshBooks to create or send invoices. It takes about 30 seconds. So there's no formulas or formatting. You can use perfectly crafted invoices every time, right? So that's really, really helpful. And they help you with online payments or things like project deposits, right? So, for example, if you need a deposit from somebody, if you're a service provider and they need to send you something, and they have over 5 million small business customers. So they use FreshBooks in order to, make their financial lives with their business easier. And we're really, really excited to partner with them because they also care about small businesses like we do, like Proven does, like Small Business War Stories does. So if you want to go check out for a 30-day free trial, go to freshbooks.com/war stories. That's really important. And you enter Small Business War Stories in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Then everybody's happy. We're happy. They're happy. You're happy. You'll be using their product and kicking ass in no time. Check out, again, freshbooks.com/war stories. And like every episode of the Small Business War Stories podcast, this one is brought to you by Proven. Proven.com is a company I started, and we help you with your hiring needs for your small business. You can post your job to Proven and distribute to over 100 job boards. There's a free trial. We have thousands and thousands of businesses that are our customers and that successfully use Proven. And we are also developing a lot of really cool resources on our blog. So check out blog.proven.com. We have lots of information for small businesses to benefit, and lots of areas where, things on how to run your finances, things about what tools to use, how to work remotely, all kinds of different interesting topics on top of course, Small Business War Stories. Without further ado, I do want to get into today's episode. Carrie and Tom were awesome. We actually they ended up coming to see me play music later that night in Durango, and we ended up going to get a drink. And it was fantastic. Actually, I should say they came to see me and they got there just as I was done playing, but they had the intention. They were awesome. And then we did go get drinks, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. So I'm excited to kick off the Soul of America 2 tour with Carrie and Tom Dragt in Durango, Colorado with Old Colorado Vintage. And we are live here in beautiful Durango, Colorado. We're here downtown, and we are at Old Colorado Vintage. And I have the pleasure today of sitting down with Carrie and Tom Dragt. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Nice for you to be here.
I know, it's exciting. It's exciting. I was telling people before here, your other fellow small businesses, that I was scared to come here for the amount of money that I end up spending here, because this is exactly my vibe. So I love what you guys are doing.
That's cool. Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah. So you guys are in a prime location here in downtown Durango, and you have a store that kind of brings together a lot of different eras and a lot of different cultures with vintage clothing and vintage articles. What inspired you guys to start this?
Well, we've always been kind of pickers and antiquers ever since we were little kids. Just hitting yard sales and collecting really just cool stuff. And I was a builder for 30 years and just kind of got burned out of the whole construction industry. And we just kind of transformed into doing this kind of thing. Really kind of started when an old clothing store went out of business here about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And we bought up a lot of their inventory that had been stored in the basement for years.
Okay.
So that really got us inspired to go totally vintage clothing. But we still, as you can see in here, we have lots of artifacts and industrial pieces and just cool, made in America, well-made stuff that withstands the test of time.
Yeah. Like that jacket that was probably about 50 years old, that is a high likelihood of me walking out of here with I just tried on over there.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys have been in business for 8 years.
Approximately, yeah. We've had a brick and mortar store for 3 years, a little over 3 years.
Okay. Before that, you were just on
out of our house. Working out of our house and doing online sales.
Okay. Mm-hmm. On what did you do? Etsy or?
We were doing eBay.
eBay.
Yeah, but we don't do that so much anymore.
Okay. Do you still, if somebody sees, you post a lot of cool things on your Instagram account. If somebody sees an article of clothing there, can they buy it remotely or not?
Yes, they can. We ship all over the world.
Wow. What are some of the places you've recently shipped to?
Japan, a lot. We've shipped to Germany, the UK.
What Japanese people love old American denim, right?
They do.
That's
absolutely.
like a big thing.
It's huge.
Yeah. And you guys have some right here.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do, but all the best stuff is over in Japan, unless we can dig it up here and find it and sell it to them. But they just love the vintage. The best vintage clothing is in Japan right now.
Really?
Yeah, which is amazing, but that's where it is.
So people just have bought up all the inventory of like the old Levi's, and now they're not here anymore?
Well, they're here, but they're a little tougher to find now.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's a great segment too. How do you guys find stuff? What's
we
your process?
travel around just like you do.
Yeah.
We travel around, and that's the fun part of this deal is we go around and we go to estate sales, auctions, flea markets, yard sales. We've been known to knock on people's doors out of the blue, like American Picker style stuff. Hey, do you have any old stuff? Or just driving out country roads and talk to some old guy out in his yard. That kind of stuff, and that's fun. You get to meet different people and see all kinds. Mostly in the West.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I do. I collect stories.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. We just love and get in the truck with our dog and just travel around.
That's literally what I do. I'm traveling with my puppy, Muddy Waggers. Yeah, awesome. Can you tell me an example recently of something where you were looking for something and you found something amazing and unexpected?
Well, I can tell you. There was one time we were out in eastern Colorado and driving through this country road, and the dog had to get out and do his thing, and I said, well, I might as well do my thing too. So we just pulled off, and there was an old abandoned farmhouse, and we just no windows or anything in it. Walked in there and looking around, and a pair of 1930s buckleback Levi's laying on the floor in there.
What is that? I don't know what buckleback means.
Well, they used to have buckles on the backs of the jeans to cinch them up, back.
Yeah.
Before they wore belts, And so that's a real desirable collectible piece of denim.
Okay.
And they're Levi's. So we have them in a frame over here, just kind of as a display piece. But that was kind of a fun deal, just a little surprise.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And we get to see lots of old buildings, and we always love the old architecture, and go into basements, dark basements with you don't know what's going to be down in there.
Wow. Dun, dun, dun.
Raccoons or
Usually
snakes
raccoons,
or
yeah.
yeah, but
Raccoons and snakes. That's a good name for a song.
right.
About people looking for things in old houses.
yeah. So I mean that's part of it. We go to a lot of estate sales in the cities and things too, but but that's the fun part is getting it. It's fun interacting with people in the store.
Yeah. How do you balance both of those things? So, for example, now we're sitting here. There's people walking in and out. So at some point you might have to interact with those people, and you love doing that. How do you balance that with looking for and doing these trips, these expeditions?
We have a couple of young folks that'll stand in for us at the store once in a while on a short-term basis if we need to. Other times we just put a sign in the window that says we're off buying stuff.
Okay.
See us when we get back. So,
yeah. What's the low season here when you do more of that?
February, March, April. It's quiet here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the rest of the year it's pretty busy. Lots of people coming through the.
Cool. So it seems to me like it's really important for you guys to kind of capture this spirit of America, of the American West. What does that mean to you guys, and how does that affect the kind of items that you carry in the store?
Well, the history behind all this stuff is that's part of what I really dig about it. And if you find certain items of clothing or objects that have a backstory to them. That so and so belonged or had this piece of clothing, and he was for example, there's a famous doctor over in Pueblo that we got a lot of stuff from, and then people will come in and go, oh, he was my doctor when I was a kid and all this stuff, and he was into his 90s when he passed away, but he was in the U.S. Army, Canadian Army. Had all these stories to tell. So just knowing that he owned that piece, and I can share that with people that are buying it, and if I can ever find a backstory to something, I'll share it with the customers.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends in Bozeman was pointing out that everything I own has some sort of backstory. So I can totally relate. Like he's like, I can bet you each one of those rings is a different story. I'm like, yeah, they do. Can you think of a good story of something that we can see here in the store?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, right here. This one of these jackets. It's a racing jacket.
Okay.
A guy, Johnny Pacello, and his wife Mary, he built race cars in Denver.
Okay.
And starting in the 1950s and all through the 60s and in the 70s. He's a race car legend, dirt track race car. He drove, but then he built them as well.
Yeah.
And so we were able to acquire all of his racing jackets and his wife's racing jackets and shirts and stuff like that, and it was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you sold them all? Most of them you have?
I have a few left, and I actually wear one that he wore in the early 60s. It has his name on it and all chain stitched on the back with his race car number. That's really cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I love that
awesome
stuff.
How do you? So hold on. We've already talked about a couple things. So one is that jacket that you wear. We also have the buckle back jeans that are framed on the wall. They're not for sale. So how do you balance that out? Like you love this stuff, and then you find really cool stuff. Sometimes you're like, okay, we got a business to run. We got to sell this.
Well, the thing about me is I'm big enough where I can hardly wear it. It's hard to find big vintage items.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just big stuff. They didn't make very much of. Nobody was that big.
Yeah.
Carrie, on the other hand, she's always snatching stuff and wearing it. Even if it's guys' stuff, she looks good in the old guys' stuff too. So she can wear that stuff. But
Carrie, how do you decide what you need to actually sell to run a business?
Well, I do rotate.
Okay.
So I don't hoard any longer. It's like because we can find this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is part of the real joy of it. But it's like you find something new. It's like, oh, this is so cool, and I'll wear it for a while, and then launder it, put it out, and
yeah. Well, it was already used before, so whether you use it for a little bit longer.
And I have, my thing that I've always collected blankets.
Okay.
Even from when I was young.
Okay.
I used to go out looking for stuff with my grandmother.
Okay.
And that was just an awesome time when I was little.
So we're picking it back up here. We had an amazing group of German and Danish tourists that came in, and we had to pause here for a second. But you guys get a lot of people from Europe. You guys were saying a lot of people love the kind of Old West vibe, right, from Europe?
Yes, absolutely. They're huge collectors over there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you were talking before we had to take a quick break about your blanket collection. So you love to collect. You've always loved to collect blankets.
Yes, I have. And when we were first married, and we'd be out, scouting around for stuff, and I'd pick up a blanket, and he'd say, "Another blanket? Do you really need another blanket?" And now he totally gets it. He's like, "Here's another one." I mean, it's one of my things that I have a hard time passing up on.
Yeah.
Is good blankets.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a collector's market for some of the blankets that are worth a lot of money.
Okay.
So, we sometimes will, enjoy it for a little while and then pass it on to
What makes a blanket desirable or collectible?
the patterns, the colors, the Indian patterns mostly,
Okay.
early Pendletons, the early trade blankets from the 1900 to 1920. Those are especially desirable.
Okay. Very cool. What would you say is the number one lesson that you have picked up along the way in running your business, whether it be it through your, if somebody's thinking about starting a business, what is the number one kind of lesson you would share with them?
Well, I would say start small,
Yeah.
take your time, and if at all possible, borrow no money.
Interesting. Because then that puts you in a better
Yes.
position.
Then you're never in a desperate situation where, oh my gosh, I've got to move this or that, and because we've been self-employed our entire married lives. We've been married 28 years, and we've made that mistake before.
Okay.
And-
What did you do before?
Well, just speculating and well, if I buy this on a credit card, then we could sell it for this, and just trying to move things faster than what they were moving, and then you find yourself in hot water sometimes. And anyway, so now we have no debt, so everything is what we can afford, and it's way
It feels better.
it's way more peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a definite freedom to not, we have the basic expenses, but no big bank loans to pay off your inventory and that kind of stuff,
Right.
But
Go ahead.
yeah, no. Anyway, another thing is, you obviously have to like working with people if you're going to be, in a retail business especially. I mean, there's a lot of other small businesses where you don't have to do that, but retail you have to, enjoy working with people. But social media is just an amazing thing now,
Yeah.
because we've done print advertising. People are always trying to, you need to advertise here and advertise there. And every single time that we do it, there's no result from it. But social media, Instagram, Facebook, Yelp, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that doesn't cost anything
Yeah.
except for your time and your effort in doing whatever you want to do to it. It pays off handsomely. I mean, it is people always coming in. Wow, we found your ad on Yelp or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and Instagram is a fun deal too. So
Who does that here?
I
you?
I do the Instagram.
Okay. Tell me more about that. So you guys have been successful. How many followers? You guys have quite a few followers. I think.
Almost 5,000.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And it's
So-
all organic. We don't pay. You're always getting somebody buy more followers and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
stupid.
just don't
Yeah.
go with that. But
what's been your strategy, your tactic? I mean, I think this is something that a lot of businesses struggle with, is how do you get in a world with limited attention, how do you get social media following?
I mix it up because I don't. There's a lot of people that'll go just take a picture of this, take a picture of that, blah blah blah. But I mix it up to where it's more kind of a lifestyle feel.
Yeah.
I'll take pictures of us traveling. If we find something, take a picture of it as we're finding it, or travel. This is where we are now. Pictures of the mountains, or cows, or whatever it is that's out there.
Yeah.
So people can kind of follow along and say, oh, that's really cool, and pictures if we're out, dressed up in vintage, and then throw in stuff that we have for sale here, pictures of the store, stuff like that. You know, so
Yeah.
it's not just one thing. It's a mixed up deal, and I think it kind of attracts people to think that's really cool. You know?
Yeah.
So,
And how long did it take you to amass 5,000 followers?
about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has there been a learning curve? What are some things that you did in social media early on that you no longer do and that you've changed? Or things you do today that you didn't used to do?
Pretty much haven't changed a whole lot.
Okay.
No.
You just consistently.
Yeah, and I don't do a lot of Facebook stuff. You know, I do mainly Facebook just because that helps people find us.
Okay.
You know, if they're on their phone searching for vintage clothing in Durango or wherever, you know, that will.
We're getting the store phone here.
No, that's my phone.
Oh, that's your phone.
That's my
Oh,
cell
okay.
phone. So, and that helps people find us.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, that's cool.
'Cause
It'll just ring
Insta-
out. We'll
yeah.
keep it there. Let's carry it.
Instagram is way faster. You know, just bum bum bum. You know, you're there, and people are always. I think it's really easy for people to be entertained.
How often do you post?
You know, I usually try to do a couple of times a week at least.
Okay.
You know, and
Cool.
and if we get into a big horde
Yeah.
of stuff, you know, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll say, oh, that's what we found. You know,
Yeah,
that's
like the
really
racing
cool.
jackets.
Yeah. stuff like that. So, yeah.
Did you post about those when you found them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and immediately sold a couple of amazing over-the-top pieces.
Cool. What
Yeah.
percentage of your sales are to people who find your stuff remotely versus people who walk in?
You know, it's probably social media follower people are probably, you know, maybe 5%.
Oh, small. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough too because we were talking in between here in the jacket that I would likely walk out of here with. Like sizing has changed a lot throughout the years, right? And like it's tough to sometimes get, especially for bigger guys. It's hard to get older things that fit, and
It is.
then it's hard to figure out exactly how things are going to fit without trying it on.
It is, and it's a funny little story from last week. This guy comes in and he's normal size, height, and everything, but he's just huge belly, big guy, you know.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What do you got that fits me in here?" And I look at him and I go, "I might have a hat."
Yeah.
But
This the buffalo rug we have.
yeah, but then I started thinking. I said, wait a second, I have something that's really cool, and so I had a hunting jacket from 1910,
Yeah.
a really early hunting jacket
Yeah.
that was a abnormally big size for that time period.
Okay.
And I said, here, check this out, you know. And he tries it on and he goes, man, this is
It fit him.
great. It fits, you
It was
know.
amazing.
And he just, without even questioning, he drops $300 on this old hunting coat, and he walked out of here smiling. He was happy, and I go, wow.
Yeah, you were happy too.
Yeah, so it was cool
That's
that,
awesome.
that it fit him. So, but that's rare that happens.
I thought you were going to talk about these. So we have these
Oh.
new old stock Levi's right here, and you were telling me, Carrie, right between the break, that a lot of the smaller size new old stock stuff got taken by Japanese people who
Yes.
took it, and
Yes.
but the larger sizes are some of these. I mean, they're
Yeah, they're like 42s.
44.
Those are pretty big.
Yeah, larger than average for sure.
Well, I think that's becoming the average, sad to say. I've had a lot of big people walk in here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we find those a little easier. But then there are people that they will fit, but then our more normal sizes sell fast.
Okay.
And then small stuff, over the top stuff, that's usually goes to Japan.
The crazy jackets and all that.
Yeah, we actually have Japanese buyers that actually come to our store now.
Okay.
They travel all over the West. They're pretty hardcore, serious buyers, but they're fun to work with. I mean, they're polite. They're wonderful people. We love them,
Yeah, and they carry cash.
and they carry cash. Always big ones. I guess I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, no. I mean,
People will
it's an-
target. Hey, there's a Japanese guy.
It's an effective negotiating strategy to just show up and say, I'm sure they can get some good deals.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Can you think of a time when things went really wrong, and what did you do about it?
You know, in this business, I think we've been really fortunate that not much has gone wrong since we opened our brick and mortar business. You know, it's just been growing. More and more people are finding out about us, and we haven't really had any bad downsides.
Do you have any stories about people buying things that didn't fit and returning them and being angry or something like that? No.
No,
No,
not so much.
But we also
Okay.
have a no return policy.
Oh, okay. That makes it easy.
It's tough to have a return policy in vintage. People, you know, buy stuff and then wear it for a costume and try to bring it
for
back.
a party, right?
And plus, you know, some of it is, you know, the people need to be aware that it's sometimes fragile, you know,
Yeah.
and you need to be careful with it when you're wearing it. So, but other than that, I think we've been pretty blessed on our business, haven't we?
We have, but we've also come into this business with
A lot of
with-
other businesses that didn't work out
Yeah.
so
yeah,
well.
which
Yeah.
had, you know, plus in this, we're not spending, you know, $1,000 on something in hopes to make 12, you know, to sell it for 1,200. I mean, the learning curve isn't.
What do you target as a margin?
It's not really much of a target. It's because there's so many pieces that are you can you know find something for $5 that's worth 200.
Right. But that's a
it's
no-brainer.
it's
But
hard
if
to-
something is, you know, you can sell for 120 and you find it for 100, would you do that deal or not?
That's a little
That's a little tight.
tough.
Okay,
I-
so
I
that's what
don't-
I'm trying to figure
yeah.
out. Like, what's
Yeah.
your kind of range? Like, your,
Yeah,
you know, I
it's-
mean, obviously, if you find something that's $5 and that's worth 200, I'm with you.
yeah, right. You know, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, but it varies so much on this stuff, on this
Okay.
vintage clothing and things that.
But you try to target, like, traditional margin retail is like, you know, 30 to 50%. So that's probably kind of where you
Yeah,
were comfortable.
we like to be above that
Okay,
generally. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that makes
And,
sense.
and we will spend money on something if it's really unique or rare, or,
Yeah.
you know, just to have it in the store.
Yeah,
And because most of the stuff we do have better margins, but you know, some people walk in and just because it's used in their minds, used clothing, we should negotiate, which we're doing less and less.
you're doing less negotiating.
Yes, because it's really not that easy to find.
Yeah,
We're really good at finding things,
yeah,
but
It's a lot of work to find this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time traveling.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun.
and
it is fun, but
Yeah.
there's some disappointments out on the road that
I
you
bet. What are some of those? Can you think of a disappointment?
Oh, gosh, what? I'll tell you. When we went, somebody said, you know, there's this big building full of vintage clothing in Nebraska, and it's been this guy's mom died, and she collected all this vintage clothing and all this stuff, you know, and it was just a big building full of stuff, and we go, sweet. And let's go then. So we hop in the truck and we drive all the way to this little tiny abandoned town in Nebraska and meet this guy there. And
That's what, 12 hours from here or something? 10 hours?
it was a long drive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we were looking. There's just boxes and piles of stuff in this building, and it was really cool. Go, wow, this could be great. You remember that?
Yes.
Oh my Lord, we spent, I don't know, 2-3 hours climbing over piles, opening up. We could open up a bag and find something, and there was just nothing there. She'd been.
What was it?
Her dream was to open a thrift store. And so all this stuff was from thrift stores, but it was
And
just,
yard sales
and-
and stuff like that.
but
and
it was just nothing.
nothing. There was no. I mean, we came out with one little bag of stuff out of there.
But it
and
was not the gold mine you expected it to be.
No.
It's just like old
We
clothes.
drove all that way, and it was like, oh no.
We got
Yeah.
we got a little pile of stuff.
Well, what's conversely something where your expectations were low and you found there, you got there, you're like, holy, this is awesome. I guess when the guy called you the racing jackets was one of them. But,
Well, actually, that was an estate sale.
Okay.
And we went over there, and we weren't expecting to find that. I thought maybe that's, you know, there was going to be something in there.
Yeah.
As soon as we walked in and looked in this closet, and went, oh my gosh. And so we get that a lot. There's more often than not. It's a surprise on the plus side.
okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And we did, you know, a few weeks ago, went over to a small little cabin in eastern Colorado that these people had said this family's had this cabin since 1902,
Yeah,
and they were selling some stuff off. And so we went over there looking at hoping to find some great stuff in there, and there was. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a pair of Levi's from the early '50s in there.
Okay.
But
Where did you find that jacket? You said
that jacket came from up in Greeley,
Greeley,
Colorado.
northern Colorado.
But we went there to buy hats.
Okay.
This guy collected vintage hats.
Yeah.
And so that there were 2 motorcycle jackets there,
Cool.
which was a surprise. But the Levi's was a great. I mean, they were like, oh my gosh, these are jewels.
Yeah.
But we had to pay a lot of money for them. But
Yeah.
we made a lot of money on them too. So it was
Sounds
just
good
one of
to
those
me.
deals.
Well, and like you were saying, this business has been successful, and you learn a lot from your other businesses, right? And
Yeah.
good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment, right? So
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
So go
like,
ahead.
Well, because when we started this, we were still doing our construction business, custom homes, and so we were doing this on the side. And as we began to really find things, and it began to grow and grow and grow and actually take over our house. And so it was all pretty much, just cash business. It was, I mean, and with that I mean, we weren't borrowing any money to leap into this new business. So it really grew very steady and slow. And then 3 years ago, when we found the space, our first space across the street, it was reasonable and worked for us. And after 3 years there, we were doing well. But then this space across the street opened up, and now it's just incredibly taken off.
location makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Even if it's just right across the street.
And we were able to make the move and make the upgrade and not borrow any money.
Nice. And you guys got a nice long lease, hopefully, a longish.
It's right now. It's at 2 years.
Okay.
But after this first year, I think we can probably extend it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where can people find you? So if you guys post really cool things that people can buy. So your Instagram account is Old Colorado Vintage.
Yes,
Yeah. And your address here is 1020 Main Street, correct?
that's correct.
And do you have a website?
Do not have a website.
You do not have a website.
No,
so
which is,
no
which is
web
a
presence.
horrible thing, but
Yeah.
it's
I guess you have to go to Instagram or come to Durango, Colorado, and check out the awesome, awesome story you guys have. Is there anything else you want to share with people, our audience, about your business?
We do have a Facebook page.
yeah. we have
Okay.
a Facebook page.
Okay.
No, I just we just have fun doing what we're doing.
I can tell.
mean, we've worked our butts off for a long time.
Yeah.
And now we're finally having fun doing what we're doing.
I love it.
And we're making some money and just having fun doing it.
And you guys
without
like being
a
in
lot of
Durango
stress.
too? And,
Durango's
it's
a
like-
great place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with other small businesses here? How do you guys? Is there a good community of small business owners?
There is, we
Yeah.
have a great downtown business association that's,
Yeah.
helps everybody out as a community, yeah.
That's
You know,
awesome.
everybody downtown, there's no animosity to speak of with anybody really, I mean, you can't do that in a small town like this.
Yeah.
So, we always try to help each other out and do that. And we always give, people, other business owners, we always give them a discount on if they buy from us, and they
Yeah.
do the same for us.
And podcasters hope so too. So nice to meet you.
All right, Pablo.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Nice to
so much for sharing your story on the show.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Small Business War Stories. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at blog.proven.com. If you have an idea for us, we'd love to hear it. Please email us at podcast@proven.com. See you next time. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes.